Well, guess who else is a keen gardener? And that is Wendy, and she is out there for us this evening. Hello, Wendy.
Hello, Riz. Yes, I am quite in my element here, but I must admit that I'm one of those Londoners that's only ever seen Buckingham Palace gardens from the top deck of a bus heading to Victoria, as you get a cheeky glimpse over the wall looking out of the window. I didn't actually know there was a lake here. It's quite substantial in size, 3.5 acres in size. It's got 3 million gallons of water in it and has 3 types of fish. Now, last week I took a lovely walk with the Deputy Gardens Manager to find out more. How big is this garden?
The garden's 39 acres, the largest private garden in London.
With a team of gardeners, but you've still got a lot of work to do, I guess.
Yeah, we've got 9 gardeners here on the ground working every day.
I've got 1 or 2 rose bushes at home in my garden. You've got 1 or 2 more than that.
Yeah, each of the rose beds has about 60 roses in it, and we've got 24 rose beds.
All right, yes, a lot of deadheading.
Indeed.
Not to mention weeding, watering and cultivating the thousands of plants and trees here collected over the years.
Are some of the plants given as gifts?
Yes, we get quite a few roses and trees as gifts for jubilees, birthdays and anniversaries. There's one over there called Golden Wedding.
Oh, lovely. And I understand that when the Queen is in residence here, she gets a posy each week.
Yeah, each week we send up a posy of flowers, which shows the interest of that particular week and what's in season. A little bit of the garden going into the palace.
The garden hasn't always been this well kept. After the famous landscape architect Capability Brown left the grounds, it fell into disrepair. It was said that only Dash the dog liked it when Queen Victoria first came here. It was her consort, Prince Albert, who started its recovery, and every monarch since has taken a great interest in the garden's development.
We have the day-to-day choices that we make of planting and the maintenance, but any projects we'll also consult the Queen to get her opinion on what she'd like to do with the garden.
In this dry spell, how have you kept this garden watered?
It's been very difficult. We've had to use hose pipes and sprinklers. There's a borehole in the grounds that services the chillers in the palace, and also the Queen's Gallery air conditioning comes out into the gardens, and we use that water. So we're not on mains water.
It must be a tremendous responsibility for you and your team. Do you feel the weight of it sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I get nice little days where we're just weeding or clipping edges and you kind of lose yourself in the day. But the sense of pride we have when we had visitors, heads of state come, and garden parties especially, that's our peak. We make sure there's not a leaf out of place. And literally all the lawns are blown and cleaned, all the paths are raked, all the beds are weeded, and it is just spotless, and it has to be.
Is it true you sometimes ride the number 36 bus to see where you need to fill in?
This is true, yes. Because we can get a little bit used to seeing it from the inside, and we do need to see from the outside as well. I call it the most public private garden in the country.
Well, of course, it's just got that much more public. Since they started opening the palace and the gardens, 10 million people have visited here, not to mention the garden parties, in which 8,000 people are invited each time. But it's still a haven for wildlife, with a gaggle of geese on the lawn, damselflies, dragonflies, nesting owls and the odd corgi. Back to you, Riz, on the balcony.
Wendy, thank you very much indeed. In fact,